It's now time for Me and My Roku with host Peter Clay. That voodoo that you do so well.
Incidentally, this is Peter.
So we have a voicemail now from Peter.
Pete, you are not.
Not everybody sounds like Peter Clay.
This is what it's all about, isn't it?
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome to another spectacular edition of Me and My Roku. I'm your host, Peter Clay. Welcome aboard. Here we are. So, a little disclosure to start this show. This show's about me. So, I do not recommend, I do not guide you or anything like that. I just say what I say, do what I do, and leave it to you to do with it as you wish. I'm not endorsed, sponsored, or anything else by Roku. I just got 3 of them, and I love them, and I watch them, and what I watch then I share with you, and you can go, wow, what an idiot, or hey, I didn't think of that, or hey, I knew that all along, and blah, 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 or I just like hearing this guy's voice, and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, so plenty of things going on, so let's get started.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Whoa, yeah, whoa, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, you look like you could use some holiday cheer. All right, the holiday season's upon us, and nothing like getting up every day with a smile on your face and a smile for your fellow man. And if that doesn't work, then there's the Hallmark Channel, and all 3 Hallmark channels, and gazebos and snow flying and couples meeting, breaking apart, getting back together, hugs, kisses, everything. Oh, yeah. So what would it take for you to watch all of those films for 12 days in a row, watching 24 movies? How about $1,000? Now are you interested? Huh? Yes, CenturyLink quote, which apparently is nothing to do with CenturyLink or the Crown Network or Hallmark. But they're using the name and all that stuff. So you have to fill out an application and agree to watch 24 movies by Christmas Day. But you have to be on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you have to do the hashtag Hallmark Christmas, blah, 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 blah. How badly do you want $1,000? How many gazebos can you watch? If that interests you, you can go look for that online. You have until December 6th. So by the time you're hearing this, it'll be July, but that's okay. Maybe they'll be getting ready for the next season. There'll be Christmas in July by then. So yes, Hallmark Channel, $1,000 for the 12 days of Christmas. Only 24 movies. That's easy. You can get that done in a weekend. Whew. Hallmark and the holidays on your Roku. Okay, kids, gather around. Come together. And I'm going to talk about something here that I don't normally talk about on this show because it really doesn't have anything to do with anything except for this is how I do it. And as we're getting the streaming wars galore between ad-supported video on demand and subscriptions going on. You've got PlayStation Vue bowing out. You've got Hulu raising prices, Disney Plus, Netflix. Don't forget about Amazon Prime. They're not going to give up without a fight. So all this stuff going on. And then you look at the bill every now and then you go, geez, this is as much as I was paying with cable. Or are you? You still might be saving. Plus, you get to decide what you get and all that stuff. So how do I do it? Is that what you're asking? You just need to be talking about it. And you mentioned gift cards and all that stuff. So I'm just going to mention a few things that I do. And you don't have to do any of these things. You don't have to, I'm just telling you what I do. And then if you want to respond by, well, those are ripoffs. No, they just want your information, steal you and your identity and all that stuff. Okay, fine. I'm just telling you what I do. And I'm just telling you what I get out of it is free television. Okay? Very little of this then comes out of my pocket. The only thing that comes out of my pocket is the initial subscription for the internet. And that right now is about $50 on a promotional for another 6 months. And then I got to get in gear. Now, I do get other cards and all that stuff that help offset that cost as well. So, what's the big super secret? I do different things like swag bucks, my points, and earnably, and either surveys or watching videos or doing different things. And I'm doing fairly well on that. Enough to pay for Disney Plus, Apple stuff, Apple credits. Comes out to about 25, 30, 40, $50 a month sometimes, some cases for certain different things. So also Bing has a rewards program. That takes the longest and stuff. So there's now another other little thing that I do. And I kind of feel like I kind of look like an idiot, but on the other hand, who cares? It's a win-win for me. I keep coins that, spare change. Now I don't get very much cash, but I find coins everywhere and all that stuff too. And people throw these things in. So about every couple of weeks or so, or once a month, I go to a Coinstar then, and I get Apple credits. And it comes out to about anywhere from $5 to $8. Now, sometimes it pays for a music, Apple Music, or pays for CBS All Access, or anything along those lines too. So a lot of these things then I don't have to use my own money for, and I can try these things out for you and report back to you and all that stuff. Another thing I started doing, and this adds up a lot faster than coins, and that is if I use cash for something like that, if I get like $6 or something like that back, I put the dollar out of that in an envelope. So I keep all the dollar bills I get. I look like I, had a good night on the dance floor. It's all right. And every now and then, if I get something else, I'll change them out for bigger bills and all that stuff. That adds up. That comes out to be like $25 almost every other week or a month or something like that. So $30 a month just on that. And then again, I can go then to a store and get a gift card then. And that's a Hulu card, even Netflix if I wanted that again, or anything like that. So these are just the little things I do. I make about $25 a month on all the survey sites. So that's $75 right there, plus 25 to 30 in dollar bills, plus anywhere from, we'll say $15 a month in coins. So that pays for a lot of stuff right there. Now, I'm not saying you have to do those things. I'm not recommending that or anything like that. I'm just telling you, it's me and my Roku, and that's how I get fabulous programming. So that way, my cash that I have on hand, I use to pay doctor bills and insurance and gasoline and all these damn animals over here too. I gotta feed those guys. So that's what I do with me and my Roku. Okay, kids. While I've got you gathered around here, why don't we just stay here all together here? You don't have to hold hands. Just come together here. Got a couple things to say here. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned about the Internet Archive. I mentioned it on every program, and I asked for your support on that to help them out now. Now, I mentioned that they were weaving books into Wikipedia and what that was doing. So that is now into a larger project that they're working on with the Wikimedia Foundation and other law firms and public policies. And they are trying to start an initiative on misinformation and to combat misinformation online. So if that is something that you feel is important or something like that, I ask you to go look at the blog.archive.org and look at their announcements and look at what they're planning to do on that. That is all part of the things going on at archive.org. And if you think that's worthy of support, I would encourage that you look at such a thing and look at us. We love the Internet Archive, and by we, I mean me. They've been providing the bandwidth for my podcast for over 12 years. Double decade thing now, almost. So, archive.org and misinformation. Let's combat that and join the fight on that with archive.org. One other thing I want to mention, too, is I mentioned last week that I had a little accident. My wonderful iPhone 6 Plus just fell out of my pocket, landed square on the top, and shattered. And after, 10 minutes or so of crying and all that stuff, it still technically works a little bit, but it kind of hurts your fingers and all that stuff. So I'm tired of bleeding fingers. So I had to get a new phone, and in a panic, I couldn't get the iPhone that I wanted at the price I wanted and all that stuff. I had to go with Android. But it's okay. And I've always said that if I was going to go with Android, I was going to go directly from Google, and I got a Google Pixel. Now, you care about this? No, you don't care about this at all. But this is a way for me to get out there, because the other thing, other than archive.org, do I advocate for? I advocate for podcasting. And so I'm getting my more boots to the ground, because when on the iPhone, it's just easy. Just use the podcast app. I know there's Overcast and there's Pocket Cast and there's other things. And podcast is not perfect, but it's close enough. And so when you don't have that, and so many other people don't have an iPhone, to get out there and still push for podcasting. So I'm looking at that right. So right now, my two recommendations are Spotify and Podcast Addict. Now, there's other things out there. There's even Google Podcasts and all that stuff, which has just about everything, but you can't make playlists. And that, to me, is kind of a big thing. When I'm at work and all that stuff, I'm running around. I listen to like 5, 6, 7 podcasts in a row. And so that's important to me, and important to preach about getting out there. So those are the two that I'm working on right now, and I will report back as soon as there's a. So just as important it is to be in control of your Roku and your TV that you watch, it's just as important, if not even more important, your audio. And podcasting is the future on that stuff. So that's one of the things I'm fighting for and all that stuff, and that helps make this podcast possible as well. So I will report back if I find anything else more on both Android and iOS. iOS, just do the podcast app. And even now on your Mac, since they've separated it from iTunes, you can do that as well. And on the Android, right now, Spotify doesn't have everything. But if you're on something like T-Mobile, like I am, you can stream and it doesn't count against your data. That's also important with Spotify. And then for the rest of the things that I can't get on Spotify that I could get on podcasts app on iOS, I get on Podcast Addict. Whew. There's a lot going on there. A lot going on. So, 1, support archive.org. 2, support podcasting. Get out there, listen to this program, listen to it on iOS, Android, and I'll spit off all the ways to listen to us in just a minute. But now, back to our Roku. Alrighty then. Well, I did some purging of my Roku. So let's have a little comings and goings section here, because a lot went and not much came back in then. So just had to do a little purge. There were some redundancies. I had some authentication channels, and so A&E and the History Channel, their apps, and FYI, they all went bye-bye. Had to let them go. Because I didn't feel too bad, because a lot of the older episodes on anything that I would watch on those apps are available on Hulu. So I thought, well, okay. So got to deal with ads anyway. I like Hulu's ads better. It's I've got my Hulu. I don't know about your Hulu. Maybe you don't even do ads. I don't mind the ads. I need a little break every now and then. So I'm down to about 90 seconds, and that's just about right. And I like the little countdown, which they've moved from the top left corner to us to the bottom left, and so then I always got to race and the clock if I got to get something quick. So those went bye-bye. Then I was watching some football on my Roku, and then I just happened to notice an email, and I just checked it, and I'm like, oh no, I don't need this. Vudu, Walmart's ad-supported streaming service. And it's not just that. It's their main thing. You can buy digital music. It's their version of iTunes, let's say. But they also do have an ad-supported service on there as well. Lots of stuff, good stuff, some of their own. So it's not as redundant as it is with the other ad-supported networks. But they had announced on there that they had 22 of the 25 James Bond movies. Has Daniel Craig only done 3 films? He's done 4. So it's anyway. So he's done. There was 22 films. So all the way from Dr. No to The World Is Not to Die Another Day. So all the way up to Pierce Brosnan, from Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan, with ads, and the ads aren't bad. So I went now, in all sincerity here and disclosure here, to initially try this, I used my Chromecast. What? Oh my god! But once we got it working, I put it on the Roku. Once I didn't find the ads intrusive. There was other movies on there as well. So in order to add Vudu, then I had to do another rearranging of the ad-supported networks. Now, this is what I'm doing. This is not a recommendation. This is not saying these are the best ad-supported networks out there. I just put them in my menu this way, and this is how I'm doing. So this is not a ranking. This is not SEO. This is not advertising. There's no links here. Right? This is just what I do. So I got rid of Stir, and I got rid of Nosy. I need my Maury fix every now and then, but I found out that most of those things are available just on the Roku channel, which is right on my top list there. It's not a list. So on the top of my menu for ad-supported ones, I have Roku channel, Pluto TV, and Tubi. We had a fabulous time with Tubi over the weekend when we weren't watching football, or if we had football on one of our side TVs. If you don't have a side TV, get a side TV. We watched a Bruce Lee film and a Chuck Norris film, and not the worst Chuck Norris movie I've ever seen. I'd say it was good, just saying it wasn't the worst one. We've watched worse. Pluto TV is just expanding more and more, and it's almost hard to keep track of, especially on a podcast. I could tell you one thing that's happening on Pluto and right now, and then 2 weeks later, 70 other things have been added on. And especially with the merger of Viacom and CBS, a lot more is going to be going on there. So Roku channel, Pluto TV, Tubi, all good. If you get them, great. Don't worry about it. Then I kept Zumo and I kept Crackle, and I launched with a fire of 1,000 suns Stir. It's not bad, and if you get it, I hope you like it because it's free and there's something on there to watch. It's just, it's one of those things that for some reason it's been easy to let go when I have all these other networks. So then I did add Vudu then. So on the bottom one is Zumo, Crackle, and Vudu. Crackle, I am enjoying with some of these things like Fantasy Island and Charlie's Angels and some of these other things. One Day at a Time was on there, the original one, the CBS version. Vudu, it's got the James Bond movies, and I saw some other movies on there that I have. Some I had seen on other ad-supported ones, and some I hadn't. And the ads were very quick and to the point, and still find Tubi the best on that. And Zumo, because it's got Real Vision TV on there, financial stuff that I usually can get on YouTube, but sometimes it's nice to have a nice linear challenge just going from one thing to another. So, from one thing to another. That's what's going on with ad-supported. So Vudu, enjoy the Vudu that you do so well. Anyway, well, I got to get back to my Roku. It's been about 20 minutes or so, and so I got to get back before I start getting twitchy and all that stuff. So, hey, special thanks to archive.org. If you support what they're doing about combating misinformation online, check them out today at archive.org, and we thank them for supporting this podcast and all of my podcasts that I've done throughout the years. Check them out today at archive.org. You can subscribe to the Me and My Roku podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube, iHeartMedia, and radio.com. Follow me on Twitter at Radio Affliction. And if you have any questions or comments, you want to talk to me more personally, that's an email at meandmyrokupodcast@gmail.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying you and your Roku as much as I'm enjoying me and my Roku. If you haven't tell, I love my Roku, all my Rokus. So, hey, enjoy your time. I'll be back with you real soon.